From Streets to Office. The Story of Mark. This is a long story about a man named Mark. Mark cleaned streets. Mark worked very hard every day. Mark lived a simple and difficult life. But one day he met a man. This man changed Mark's life. This man showed Mark a new way. This story is about pain. This story is about change. This story is about hope. Mark was a young man, but he felt old. His back hurt every morning. His legs hurt every night. His hands were always tired. Mark worked as a street cleaner. Every day he woke up at 5 a.m. He left home when it was still dark. The air was cold. The city was quiet. Mark wore old clothes. He wore heavy boots. He wore a big yellow jacket. He took a broom. He took a trash bag. And he started cleaning. He swept the streets. He picked up trash. He lifted heavy bags. He walked many kilometers. People walked past him. Some people did not see him. Some people ignored him. Some people looked down on him. Mark felt invisible. He felt small. He felt lonely. He thought to himself, "My life is nothing. My job is hard. My future is empty." Every day he felt the same. Every day he was tired. Every day he felt sad inside. Mark lived in a very small room. It was cold in winter. It was hot in summer. The bed was old. The chair was broken. The window was dirty. Mark had little money. After paying rent, he had almost nothing. He ate simple food, bread, tea, sometimes potatoes, sometimes soup. Mark did not go to restaurants. Mark did not go to the gym. Mark did not travel. He only worked and slept. In the evening he sat alone. He looked at the ceiling. He felt tired. He felt lost. Sometimes he whispered, "Why is my life like this? Why can't I change?" But he did not know how. One morning it was raining very hard. The sky was dark. The wind was cold. Mark was wet and shaking. He still had to work. He pushed his broom through the water. His hands were freezing. His boots were full of rain. He stopped under a small roof for a moment. He breathed out slowly. "I cannot live like this forever," he said. At that moment, a man walked by. He had an umbrella. He had clean clothes. He had a warm jacket. He looked at Mark and said, "Are you okay?" Mark nodded, but he was not okay. The man looked at his tired eyes. The man said, "You work very hard." Mark did not know what to say. The man smiled and said, "My name is Daniel." And this was the moment everything changed. Daniel stood there in the rain, talking to Mark. Daniel asked, "How long have you worked here?" Mark said, "Many years." Daniel asked, "Do you like this job?" Mark looked down and said, "No." Daniel asked, "Do you want a better life?" This question hit Mark like lightning. Mark said quietly, "Yes, I want a better life." Daniel looked serious. He said, "I can help you, but you must also help yourself." Mark felt hope for the first time in many years, just a little hope, like a small light in a dark room. Daniel gave Mark his phone number. He said, "Call me tonight." Mark sat on his bed. He held the paper with the phone number. He was scared. He was nervous. He did not know what to say. But he took a deep breath. He picked up his phone. He called. Daniel answered, "Hello, Mark. I was waiting for your call." Mark felt warm inside. No one ever waited for him before. No one cared about him before. Daniel said, "Tomorrow meet me at the cafe. We need to talk." Mark said, "Okay." He could not sleep that night, not because he was tired, but because he felt something new. Hope. The next day, Mark went to the cafe. He felt strange. He never went to cafes. He felt shy. He felt poor. He felt out of place. Daniel waved at him, "Mark, come here." Daniel bought Mark warm tea. Mark held the cup with both hands. It felt good. Daniel asked, "What do you want in life?" Mark did not know how to answer. He never thought about it deeply. He said, "I want a normal life. I want a better job. I want to feel proud." Daniel smiled. "Good. That is possible." Mark looked confused. He said, "How? I am only a street cleaner. I know nothing." Daniel put his hand on the table and said, "You can learn. You can grow. You can change. You just need help." Daniel decided to help Mark step by step. First, Daniel taught him how to use a computer. Mark's hands shook. He did not know how to type. He did not know how to use a mouse. He felt stupid. But Daniel said, "No, you are not stupid. You are learning." Mark practiced every day after work. He was tired, but he pushed himself. He learned how to type. He learned email. He learned simple programs. Daniel also helped Mark learn simple business ideas, how to talk to people, how to send messages, how to plan. Mark felt something new growing inside him. Confidence. Some days Mark wanted to quit. His back hurt, his mind was tired, his body was tired from work and learning. He said, "This is too much. Maybe I cannot do it." But Daniel said, "Yes, you can. One step every day." Mark listened. He continued. He woke up early. He worked on the streets. He studied at night. He learned every small thing he could. It was very hard, but Mark did not stop. One day, Daniel said, "Mark, I think you're ready." Mark's heart started beating fast. "Ready for what?" he asked. Daniel smiled and said, "Ready for an office job." Mark couldn't believe it. He felt fear. He felt excitement. He felt everything at once. "Me? Office?" Mark couldn't imagine it. Daniel said, "Yes, you. Because you work hard. Because you try. Because you never stop." Daniel helped Mark write his first CV. Mark had never written anything like that. He was nervous, but he tried. Daniel sent Mark's CV to a small office company. They called Mark for an interview. Mark was shaking. He had never been to an office before. But he went. The office was bright, clean, warm, silent. Mark felt like he was in another world. People smiled at him. They said, "Welcome, Mark." Mark sat at a desk with a computer, a real office desk, a real office chair. He touched the keyboard slowly. He could not stop smiling. He thought to himself, "I made it. I am really here." His first days were hard. Everything was new. New tasks, new people, new rules. But Mark worked hard. He asked questions. He took notes. He tried his best. People liked him. They saw he was honest. They saw he was hard-working. They saw he wanted to grow. Mark felt proud for the first time in many years. After some months, Daniel called Mark. He said, "Mark, I have an idea. Let's start a small business together." Mark was shocked. "Me? Business? "But I'm not ready." Daniel said, "You are ready. Because you changed your life. Now you can help others. We can do it together." Mark agreed. They started a small cleaning service business. Mark knew how to clean. Daniel knew how to organize. Together, they were strong. They worked every evening. They planned. They talked to clients. They made flyers. They made phone calls. It was hard, very hard. But Mark was not afraid anymore. He believed in himself. The business grew slowly. Then it grew faster. More clients, more work, more money. Mark started earning more than ever before. He moved into a better room.
He bought better clothes. He helped his family. He felt alive. People in the office respected him. People in the business world respected him. Mark was no longer the man with a broom. Mark was no longer invisible. Mark was strong. Mark was confident. Mark was successful. One day, Mark stood in front of a mirror. He looked at himself. He remembered the cold mornings. He remembered the rain. He remembered the pain in his back. He remembered the lonely nights. He said quietly, "I am not that man anymore." Mark wanted to help people like him, people who worked hard, people who felt invisible, people who felt stuck. He said to everyone, "You can change your life. It does not matter where you start. It matters where you go. You can learn. You can grow. You can change. You can rise from the streets. You can sit in an office. You can build a business. All you need is one small step, then another, then another." Mark's life became bright. Mark became happy. Mark became a new man. Because he worked, because he learned, because he believed, because he did not stop. And you can do the same. Anyone can. Your story can start today, right now, with one small step.